What if our courage and spirit were recognized by galactic powers, but we were forced to face an enemy unlike any we've ever known? In Only Human, we follow a desperate journey where humanity fights for its survival and dignity, even when everything seems to be slipping away. Captain Samuel Price and his crew aboard the Victory are on the run from the mighty HFY fleet, but time is running out, and their options are dwindling. With every passing moment, the battle for their lives, and for the future of humanity, grows more intense, as each decision they make holds life-altering consequences. Can the Victory succeed in saving humanity, or will this journey end with the final sacrifice? Watch as this story pulls you into a relentless, heart-pounding battle, where every moment counts. The Victory sailed through the cosmos, its sleek form cutting through the void of space with the grace of a predator. The Federation flagship hummed softly, its systems glowing faintly against the dark canvas of the universe. Captain Samuel Price stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars through the forward viewport, his expression hard. His eyes were fixed on the looming shadow of the HFY-controlled system ahead. Peace talks. That was what they were supposed to be. A historic moment, humanity's first attempt to forge an alliance with the ancient, war-hardened HFY empire. The negotiations were delicate, and Price knew it. The HFY had ruled over this part of the galaxy for centuries, and their leader, General Zoreth Kal, was not someone who could be easily swayed. But Price had hope. The United Sol Federation, humanity's shining example of unity, had earned a place in the stars. Perhaps this meeting could be the key to something even greater. A low hum vibrated through the bridge, and the comms officer, Lieutenant Mara Drake, leaned forward, adjusting the controls. "Captain, we're entering HFY space. The diplomatic vessel is ready for our arrival." Price nodded, his voice calm but firm. "Good. Keep an eye on the sensors. I want full scans of the area before we make contact. We don't know what we're walking into." Drake's fingers moved swiftly over the console. "Aye, Captain. Sensors are scanning. No sign of any HFY ships, yet." The words hadn't left her mouth when the alarm blared, a sharp, insistent warning that shot through the quiet tension like a bolt of lightning. Red lights flashed on every panel. Price's eyes shot to the holoscreen, and his stomach dropped. Multiple signatures, massive signatures, appeared on the radar, approaching rapidly. The HFY fleet, well hidden behind the system's gas giants, had just made their move. "Captain, we've got at least a dozen capital ships on an intercept course," Drake reported, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding on the screen. "They're moving fast." Price felt his pulse quicken, but he didn't show it. His mind raced. "Status of the peace envoy?" "Gone," she replied. "The diplomatic vessel's gone dark." No response. "They've been disabled." Sam's jaw tightened. The HFY had no interest in peace. Not now. He could feel the weight of the decision before him. His crew had come here in good faith, believing that diplomacy could work. He had to decide quickly, how much risk was he willing to take to avoid an outright war? "All hands to battle stations," Price ordered, his voice cutting through the tense silence. He turned to the tactical officer, Lieutenant Jace Sterling. "What's our best option?" Sterling's fingers flew across his console. "We've got one shot, Captain. They're too close to run, and we don't have the firepower to take them head-on. If we can make it to the nearest asteroid belt, we might be able to lose them in the debris. But that's a risky maneuver." "No choice," Price interjected, cutting him off. "Make it happen." "Understood." Sterling's fingers danced over the controls, redirecting power from auxiliary systems to the engines. The ship's systems buzzed with effort. "Engines are primed. I can get us there in 5 minutes, but we need to move now." Price grabbed the back of his chair, his mind racing through possibilities. He knew this wasn't just about survival. If they got out of this alive, they would have to report back to the Federation, to the Council. There would be no more talks, no more peace. The HFY had just marked humanity for extinction, and the consequences of failure were unthinkable. "Engage!" Price snapped, voice sharp. The Victory lurched forward as the engines roared to life, the ship hurtling toward the asteroid belt with impressive speed. But the HFY were relentless. On the holoscreen, Price could see the massive ships closing in, their weapons powering up. "Incoming!" Sterling shouted. Before Price could respond, the Victory shook violently, a jarring impact reverberating through the hull. A missile had struck the port side, breaching the outer layers of armor. Sparks shot up from the console. Crew members scrambled to contain the damage. "Shields are holding at 75%, Drake reported, her voice taut with concentration. "Captain, they're locking on with their heavy artillery," Sterling added, his voice tinged with urgency. "We won't last long at this rate." Price's mind clicked into overdrive. He couldn't afford to let fear or doubt cloud his judgment. They needed time to get into the asteroid belt. Time to survive. "Prepare the countermeasures," Price commanded. "Deploy decoys and jammers. Give us a fighting chance." Drake nodded and pressed the appropriate commands. A series of bright flashes erupted from the ship's hull as decoy drones were ejected into space. The ship's jamming system hummed to life, scrambling the HFY targeting systems. The Victory swerved violently to avoid another missile barrage. As the ship zigzagged through the void, Price locked eyes with Mara. "How long until we're in the belt?" 3 minutes, she replied, her face a mask of determination. The Victory swerved again, narrowly dodging a massive beam of energy that sliced through space, grazing the ship's side. The lights flickered, and for a brief moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then the emergency power kicked in, and the ship lurched forward again. "We need to get into that asteroid field, now!" Price roared. His voice carried the weight of authority, but his heart was racing. "We can't let them track us. We need to shake them off before." Another explosion rocked the Victory. This time, the hull groaned as the second missile detonated against the port wing. The deck buckled beneath their feet. "Damage report," Price barked. "Partial breach in Sector 7. Lieutenant Sterling shouted over the noise. "We're losing oxygen in that section." Price's fists clenched. They were running out of time. "Get us into that belt, Mara. Now." Drake's eyes were locked on the forward viewport, her hands steady on the controls. The ship veered sharply, and the asteroid field loomed ahead, a jagged expanse of rock and debris, perfect for evading pursuers. "Hold on!" Drake shouted. The Victory dove into the field, rocks crashing against the shields as the ship wove between them, narrowly avoiding collisions. The HFY fleet hesitated, momentarily disoriented by the sudden change in terrain. The Victory was small and agile, more so than the HFY warships, but it couldn't afford to make a mistake. Price exhaled, the tension not leaving his body. They had a chance. For now. "Update," he said, keeping his voice calm. "HFY ships are attempting to follow, but the field's slowing them down," Drake said. "We've got a few minutes." Sam nodded. "Good. We make this count." The asteroid field stretched out before the Victory, a swirling mass of jagged rocks and tumbling debris. Captain Samuel Price stood at the command station, eyes fixed on the chaotic dance of asteroids as the ship weaved through the labyrinth. The tension in the air was palpable, every twist, every turn, every micro-adjustment of the ship's trajectory felt like a life-or-death decision. "Hold steady," Price murmured under his breath, his voice more to himself than anyone else. The Victory had taken a beating, but it was still moving, still alive. That had to count for something. "Captain," Lieutenant Mara Drake's voice broke through his thoughts. "We've bought ourselves some time, but the HFY aren't giving up that easily. They'll re-enter pursuit soon." Price nodded, though he didn't turn to face her. "I know." He could feel the weight of the decision pressing on him. The Victory was severely damaged, its shields fluctuating, its systems strained. They'd made it into the asteroid belt, but that was only a temporary reprieve. Soon, the HFY would close in again. Humanity had always prided itself on its ability to adapt, to survive when the odds were stacked against them. But this was different. They weren't facing an alien invasion or a rogue warlord. They were facing the HFY Empire, an ancient and ruthless force that had crushed entire civilizations. It didn't matter that humanity had earned its place in the stars. To the HFY, humans were nothing more than a nuisance, a pest that needed to be eradicated before it spread further. "Captain," Lieutenant J. Sterling's voice snapped him from his thoughts. "I've rerouted the power, but the damage to the engines is extensive. We won't be able to outrun them for much longer." "How much time do we have?" Price asked, finally turning to face his tactical officer. Sterling hesitated, his fingers hovering over his console. "Maybe 10 minutes, 15 if we're lucky. After that, we're sitting ducks." Price exhaled, frustration building within him. He needed more time. More options. But there were none. "Can we hide in the debris? Lose them in the field?" "I'm not sure," Sterling said. "The HFY ships are equipped with advanced sensors. They'll find us eventually, even if we mask our signatures. The moment they lock onto us again, we're finished." Sam felt a tight knot form in his chest. The stakes couldn't be clearer. The victory wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol. A symbol of humanity's potential. The HFY didn't just want to destroy the victory. They wanted to send a message, to crush any hope humanity had of standing on equal footing in the galaxy. "We need a plan," Price said, his voice sharp. He turned to Mara. "Any ideas?" She shook her head, her gaze focused on the screen. "Not yet, sir. But I'm thinking. We're running out of options. Our best bet might be to get the crew to the escape pods and scatter. We might stand a chance if we go out in smaller groups." Price's stomach churned. Abandoning ship wasn't an option, not while he had a crew willing to fight for him. "No," he said firmly. "I'm not leaving the victory." His eyes met hers. "We're not running. We fight." Mara nodded, her face set in grim determination. She didn't argue. That was why Sam trusted her. "Understood, Captain." There was a silence in the air, broken only by the hum of the ship's systems. Price could feel the weight of leadership bearing down on him, but he couldn't afford doubt. Not now. Not ever. He turned toward the crew standing at their stations, tactical officers, engineers, medics, all of them looking to him. They had followed him into this mission with no illusions, knowing the risks. And now, with everything hanging by a thread, they needed their captain to lead them. He addressed the crew. "We're not giving up. We're not retreating. We've been put in a corner, and we're going to fight our way out. Humanity didn't get to where it is by running from its problems. We faced them head-on." The crew stood straighter, and for a brief moment, the tension lifted. The shared resolve in the air was palpable. Sam knew that the victory was more than just a ship, it was the embodiment of everything humanity had fought for, everything they stood for. Every soul aboard it was a part of that struggle. He took a deep breath, his mind working quickly. "I'll contact Federation Command, see if we can get reinforcements. We have a few minutes. Mara, I need you to keep us in the asteroid field for as long as possible. Don't let them get a clean shot at us." "Understood," she said, already working the controls. "Chase, start working on the weapons systems. We may need to make a stand if it comes to that." "Aye, Captain," Sterling replied, already tapping in commands. Price turned toward the communication officer, a young man named Leo Chang, who had been eerily quiet for the past few minutes. "Leo, get me a secure line to Federation Command. Now." Leo's fingers flew across his console, working quickly. After a tense moment, the comms link pinged. "This is Captain Price of the Victory. We're under attack by the HFY fleet. We've sustained significant damage and are currently in a hostile engagement. Requesting immediate reinforcements." There was a crackling silence on the other end before a voice finally responded. "Captain Price, we've received your transmission. Reinforcements are en route, but they'll be at least 20 minutes out. Hold your position as long as you can. 20 minutes, Sam repeated, the weight of those words sinking in. Understood. We'll hold as long as we can. He cut the line. He didn't have to say it aloud, but everyone on the bridge understood. 20 minutes. That was all they had. The Victory jolted again, the impact of another missile causing the deck to vibrate. The shields were weakening, but they were holding, barely. Sam's gaze flickered to the viewport. The HFY ships were closing in again. Their pursuit was relentless. He could feel the eyes of his crew on him, waiting for the next command. We're not running, we're not hiding. We fight, Price said again, his voice calm but resolute. Mara's fingers flew over the controls, guiding the Victory through the asteroid field with deadly precision. Captain, we're getting closer to the edge of the belt. If we make it through, there's a Federation outpost nearby, small, but it's our best chance. Make it happen, Sam ordered. But the HFY weren't giving them a chance to escape. A pulse of energy rippled through space, and the Victory shuddered again, harder this time. The shields were failing. They were being cornered. Sam clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the moment pressing on him. He glanced at his crew. They were all in this together. We hold the line, he said quietly, almost to himself. And, for the first time since this mission had started, he smiled. We show them who we are. The Victory groaned under the strain as it maneuvered through the debris-filled asteroid field, its engines sputtering. Captain Samuel Price's hands gripped the armrests of his command chair with white knuckles. The vibrations running through the ship were almost constant now, a relentless reminder of the damage it had sustained. The enemy fleet was still behind them, its pursuit unyielding. Only a handful of minutes remained before the HFY would catch up, and when they did, there would be no escape. Captain, Lieutenant Mara Drake's voice cut through the chaos, sharp with urgency, we're getting close to the outpost. It's just beyond that cluster of asteroids, but they'll have us in their sights by then. They're accelerating. Price didn't take his eyes off the viewport. The HFY ships were gaining. It was only a matter of time before their superior firepower overwhelmed the Victory. Jace, how's our armament? Price asked, his voice calm but heavy with the weight of his decision. Lieutenant Jace Sterling was hunched over the console, his eyes flicking rapidly between readouts. The weapons are functional, but just barely. The main cannon's barely operational, and the secondary systems are glitching. If we use everything we've got, we might be able to cripple one of their ships, but that's it. I don't think we have enough to fight them off completely. Price nodded, the tension creeping up his spine. There were no good options left, just survival and the hope that reinforcements would arrive before it was too late. We'll make it count, he said. His gaze swept over the bridge. His crew was still focused, still working. Their resolve was solid, unyielding. They weren't just fighting for survival now, they were fighting for something bigger. For humanity's place in the stars. Leo, Price called out. Get me another transmission to Federation Command. Give them an update. We need those reinforcements now. A crackling noise sounded from the communications station, followed by the strained voice of Lieutenant Leo Chang. Captain, Federation Command is trying to contact us, but they're still 20 minutes out. They said they can't risk a full fleet mobilization until we can confirm the HFY's numbers. They want to know if we can hold out that long. Price took a deep breath. The Federation, like any government, prioritized resources. They weren't going to commit to a full-scale rescue unless they had enough intelligence on the threat. I don't have 20 minutes, Sam said flatly, his mind already turning to what came next. Tell them to be ready to pick up the pieces. That's all we can do now. Understood, Leo said, his voice tight with frustration. Price exhaled slowly, then turned to his tactical officer. Jace, prepare the ship for a final stand. Do everything you can to make them pay for every inch they take. We've got one shot to make it count. Jace nodded, his face grim. I'll do what I can, Captain. A loud, sudden bang rattled the ship, followed by the wailing of the alarm. The Victory shuddered violently, throwing crew members off balance. The lights flickered. Direct hit on the starboard side. Shields are down to 30%. Mara shouted, her hands flying over the controls. The HFY fleet had finally broken through. A volley of energy blasts rained down on the Victory, the shockwaves rattling the hull. The asteroid field, once a refuge, now seemed to mock them, the rocks too small to hide the ship in such a chaotic storm. "Return fire, Jace. Everything we've got," Price barked. The Victory's weapons systems sparked to life, the remaining cannon firing a powerful blast at the nearest HFY ship. The beam streaked through space, hitting the hull of the enemy vessel with a violent explosion. But it was only momentary success. The ship remained largely unharmed, and the HFY closed in. "Captain," Mara warned, her eyes scanning the readouts on her console. "They're getting too close. We're going to have to engage them on their terms." Price's eyes narrowed. He couldn't let them board the ship. The Victory had been humanity's first statement to the galaxy. It needed to survive, at least long enough for reinforcements to arrive. But time was running out. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," he ordered, though it was clear that their options were becoming few. "We make them regret this attack." "Incoming fire!" Jace shouted. Another blast struck the hull, and the Victory jolted violently. This time, the whole ship groaned as the lights flickered once more, and the hull integrity alarm blared. "Shields are failing," Mara shouted, her voice tinged with urgency. "We've got less than 10 minutes. After that, we're sitting ducks." Price stood, his heart racing. He glanced around at his crew. Each of them was working tirelessly, facing the odds with steely determination. They were holding the line, fighting for every second. He opened his comms. "All hands, brace for impact. We're making a stand." The ship shook once more, and another volley of fire exploded around them. Price's vision blurred for a split second. He had seen war, he had commanded battles, but nothing felt as dire as this. The HFY were closing in fast, and they were too strong. The Victory's remaining firepower couldn't do more than slow them down. "Captain," Jace said, his voice heavy with the weight of his next words. "The weapons systems are failing. We're down to secondary power." Price exhaled sharply. "Mara, keep us on course for the outpost. We have to get to Federation space. That's our only chance." "I'm trying," she said through gritted teeth, her hands working furiously to keep the ship in motion. "But we're being targeted. We're not going to make it unless we do something drastic." Price felt the pressure in his chest. There were no more moves to make, no more choices left. They had reached the point of no return. But humanity had survived for one reason: they never backed down. "Jace," he said quietly. "Activate the self-destruct sequence." A stunned silence fell over the bridge. "Captain?" Jace's voice trembled with disbelief. "You can't." "We have no choice," Price said, his voice steady, unyielding. "If we can't get away, we'll make sure the HFY know exactly what they've done. We'll take as many of them down as we can." There was a pause, and then, with a grim nod, Jace complied. The countdown began, ticking away in the background like a distant clock. As the seconds ticked down, Price stood tall, his gaze unwavering. "This is not how we die. But if it is, we die like humans, fighting, until the very end." The Victory trembled as the HFY ships closed in for the final blow. Then, the alarms blared. The countdown was reaching its climax. Price's eyes met Mara's. There was no fear, no hesitation, only resolve. Together, they had fought, and together, they would stand until the end. "We fight, no matter the cost," Price whispered. And with that, the Victory surged forward one final time, its crew ready to make the ultimate sacrifice for the future of humanity. "Eason,"